is it? Beware. Our enemies. know what? That's actually a good question. It's like old school RuneScape has a free to play model, and like they have bonds just like how classic WoW has. The fuck are those called? WoW tokens, but they're basically like bonds where you get like game time and shit. But then they would have to make the free to play version able to buy bonds. It's like the current like free to play version of WoW is like you can't use the auction house and shit, so it like kind of defeats the purpose. Like you can play free to play on retail up to like level 20 or some shit like that, right? But not so much classic. But it's like a good idea. It'd get more people to play the game. Bro, they straight up used the hot poking stick from like Scarlet Monastery Graveyard. From the first boss drops like the same model as this thing. I guess I'm after this or the Spell Power Dagger from Princess, which I've never seen drop yet. I'm not quite sure who does Fresh, because I'm not too like up to date with all the private servers and shit. I'm pretty sure Turtle WoW does that every now and then though, like Fresh servers, but I haven't played. I have that downloaded, just haven't played it.
I'm going to start this moist meter with an apology, put a little egg on my face here. As many of you know, I recently went through every single score I've ever given in the history of the moist meter since the genesis of this fine creation, and I saw some things that rattled me, shook me to my core. Some incomprehensible, awful scores given throughout the years, and I'm truly sorry for some of those. I can't control the past, but I can control the future. I make you this solemn vow, a heavenly pact to ensure that never again will I succumb to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse level forgiveness when it comes to my scores on media. I was so nice to dog shit in the past. And from now on, it's nothing but a cutthroat mentality here. With all that being said, Shogun is incredible. And this isn't just me being nice, this is me being realistic. The show is amazing, top to bottom, no matter how you spin it. Every measurable quality of this show is fucking extraordinary. I haven't felt this passionate about a show since early Game of Thrones seasons, and I know you see that being regurgitated by everyone and their mother in every news media outlet when they talk about Shogun, comparing it to Game of Thrones, but it's a show that really earns that comparison, because early Game of Thrones is pretty much a masterclass in television. And Shogun is right up there with the greats. I was so invested in this show and its characters from the very first episode. It captured me, it drew me into the time period, because so much tender love and care was put into the costumes and the set design in particular, which stood out immediately. It really does feel like it takes you on like a fucking Phil the Future time machine ride to the past, where you get to see this period come to life. Now, I've already made a whole video glazing this show back when there was only like 3 episodes of it. Now that it's finished, I'm still going to be glazing this show, but this time with even more glaze. I'm going to fucking cream coat this bad boy here because it deserves it. Shogun is one of those special shows that don't really come around often, and when it does, man, is it refreshing. Not that we've had some kind of drought of quality. In fact, I'm thinking we're in like a really good age for high quality shows. Like, we just had Invincible wrap up, which is another show I gushing grannies overed, and there's a couple more on the horizon that seem pretty good. We also just had Fallout, which was shockingly good. So, I mean, this is just another in this batch of quality that we've been getting, but this sits atop that pile. It is super good. By far the best thing about this show, in my eyes, is the writing. Oh, the writing is glorious. It feels so tight. The characters are so fleshed out with so much depth that it's hard not to care about them. The story is so deep with so many moving parts, it's pretty complex, and I do think for some viewers that might actually be a bit confusing, because it is a lot to keep track of. There's a ton of characters with a ton of different motivations doing a lot of different things in different directions, so it might be a little hard to keep track of where the fuck everything is at sometimes, but I actually kind of like that. It just makes it so rich. Like, for example, there's a character named Yabushigi in here, and this is a character that's getting pushed and pulled in all kinds of different directions, fucking used by these people while he's trying to use them, but then his plan's falling through because then this guy's plan needs Yabushigi to buy into it. Meanwhile, the guy that he's pretending to be loyal to knows that he's not actually loyal, but he still kind of needs him. Like, there really is just a lot going on with, and that's just like one single character, but it's connected to so many different things. And Yabushigi in particular, it's like that scene out of every cartoon where someone steps on a rake and then it hits them in the face. They turn around and step on another rake and it hits them in the face. That's like Yabushigi's journey here the entire show. He just keeps hitting all these fucking things that keep hitting him. It's, I don't know, it's so interesting. And I think what makes it even more interesting is just how different the culture is here that's being portrayed, where honor means everything. And in this time period, death was an honorable thing, where people would choose it sometimes in order to avoid dishonor. It's so fascinating. So even in the most tense situations where people are at each other's fucking throats, like it's a political turmoil, these two people are having a huge disagreement that's inevitably going to lead to a lot of death. That disagreement is still conducted with the utmost manners. I'm talking like SpongeBob Pinky Out level shit. And meanwhile, it's about to condemn so many people to die. Or in another situation where there's an argument between two characters and the argument brings dishonor to one of the parties that's involved, well, that honor, or that dishonor, is so extreme that they end up committing seppuku. They literally kill themselves because they were dishonorable by having this argument. It's such an interesting thing to see unfold in this way. Like, there's people that are willing to die over nothing. For example, a bird. Someone had been instructed not to touch a bird, but they ended up touching that bird, and thus they were like, you know what? I've committed a great offense to my household. Please fucking execute me for it. It just seems like trivial things that people are willing to throw their lives away for. And the main character, who is not from this land originally, points that out, saying like, this is kind of madness that you would willingly throw your life away with a smile on your face and consider it a privilege to die for something so simple. Like, step on a crack, break your mama's back, and then fucking kill yourself because they asked you not to step on those cracks. It really is so fucking different. Like, you don't really see that kind of portrayal anywhere else. And it plays a huge role, obviously, in the narrative because honor really does mean everything here. Manners, following, you know, your leader, no matter what, always being loyal. Loyalty obviously has a huge theme in this show, and it captures all of these themes in a way I haven't seen before, because I haven't seen a show that's done this time period so much justice. It really is extraordinarily well done. Now, even aside from just the extremely good writing and the really, really great story and great characters, it does have great action. It's impossible to not like swords. You're lying to yourself if you think blades are boring or lame. I know, thanks to Reddit, it's kind of gotten a bad rep, but come on. Swords will always be cool. So when people are getting killed by swords, or there's like a fight involving swords, it's always just so fun to see. And they do it really well here. There's not a lot of like sword fighting in the traditional sense where you'd see like them clashing blades and, you know, doing like almost lightsaber-esque moves with their katanas or anything. You don't really see that in Shogun. It seems so much more grounded and realistic to how it actually happened in that time period, where it'd be like one or two moves and someone dies from it, which is sensible. So like, for example, there's an assassin that is going around killing people and they're doing it stealthily. They're not really confronting people head on. They're doing it like in a very sneaky manner, and eventually they get killed with a single strike to the neck that was also a surprise attack on them. But of course, there is some actual, like, combat, you know, where one side has these weapons against this side, and it's always like, I can't wait to die for you, let's fucking go, and they just go at it, and it's great. Like, the action, when it's here, is really good, but that's not what makes this show so special. It's 100% the writing, and also the performances. This show is super well acted. Everyone really seemed to put their heart and soul and put their 110 fucking percent into their characters here, which helps elevate everything. Really, like I said, every single component of the show is done really, really well. And it really does have some of that old school, early Game of Thrones DNA to it, and I hate to keep making this comparison, but it's hard not to, because I got the same vibes, the same thrill that I got back then, where characters, any character, could die for whatever reason. And the deaths might not always be like the most climactic thing ever, which I actually think is a good thing. So in Game of Thrones, a character could die from like an infection, like a very important character, or they could die from like one single cheap move that no one saw coming. That happens in Shogun, to a lesser degree, of course. There's not as much of that, because this is a show that deals with, like, oh, well, we can't make this move and kill this person because it would throw this kind of political situation into turmoil, which would cause this problem, and it'd be, like, the snowball effect. Like, there's a lot of inner workings on what prevents them from just going for, like, a fucking all-out war-off rip and, like, just murdering and killing people. But there are some moments where a character who is an important character that we've seen from basically the beginning, who's all about, like, I want battle, I want war, I want battle, and eventually he takes matters into his own hands to try and do something for the sake of his leader, and while doing so, he dies in an embarrassing fashion, where he steps on someone's robe, he slams the robe that has his leg on it, and he loses his balance and hits his head on a rock and dies. It is a shameful death, and the character that ended up killing them says as much, saying, where's the beauty in that death? Because that character that had died was talking about how beautiful it would be to die on the battlefield for what he believed in and who he was led by. Like, having a death like that, which comes out of nowhere, really. Well, it doesn't come out of nowhere, like, it builds up to him making this decision, but seeing that death happen, which no one, I think, was expecting, really did hit pretty hard, and it had a lot of weight to it. Which reminded me of when things like that would happen in Game of Thrones. That's kind of the point I was making. A little long-winded there, but it's really cool to see that, because I feel like in modern times, a lot of shows are a little afraid to do that now. Like, you have to have these characters that, if they go out fucking guns blazing and, like, blaze a glory. Whereas here, no, that's not really the case. That's not how real life works. Doesn't matter how important someone is or was in the past, they may have just fucking died in the simplest way imaginable. And they're not afraid to showcase that in this show. So yeah, I've been kind of going on about this for a little while, but as you can tell, I really liked Shogun. I don't have any complaints that I can think of here, aside from a couple of nitpicking story moments that I think were a little, like, plot hole-esque, but maybe I just didn't fully grasp what the overall plan was and why certain things needed to happen the way they did. Like, there's some character... I'm trying not to get into spoilers of it because it's very important stuff, but there were a couple moments where I was like, you didn't really need to do that because your goals were kind of aligned. You could have, like, you didn't need to have that character kill themselves.
I'm thinking
like,
of, like,
you
the
could have...
anime.
I'm already kind of hinting it too much here. But there were certain moments where I thought, that didn't need to happen. That didn't make sense for why something happened. But it's also just a chance that maybe I forgot why it needed to happen or never fully understood it. Because like I said, there is a lot of moving parts to this story and a lot of, like, very deep-rooted reasons for why certain things were happening. But a couple of them I was like, no, you didn't need to let that happen. But anyway, without getting too much into, like, a spoilery territory, plugging Shogun into the Moist Meter, I think this is a must-watch show, which means I gotta give it that must-watch rating at a really crisp 95%. Fucking banger. Absolute banger. Shogun slaps. Great series. They crushed it with this. And I'm very happy that they're not doing a Season 2. This is another one of those rare shows where it's not going to overstay its welcome. It's not going to just keep going and going and going for the sake of milking the property dry. They've stated that they are not doing a Season 2 because they wrap everything up the way they want to in Season 1. Fuck yeah. I love that. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah.
Yeah, this feels a lot smoother with spell power gear. Like, I'm killing shit faster. Since they nerfed, what you call it, mental dex, like, I couldn't just, like, I had 0 spell power gear, so it's like I was getting all my spell power from mental dex. So now I built up, like, a spell power set on the set. Like, last night I did a Sunken Temple off stream, because, our guild was like, we want to start raiding on Thursdays, and I was like starting to feeling good. I was like on my 5th or 6th beer, like, fuck that shit. You guys can kick me if you want, but I'm raiding on Tuesday. So I raided with some random pug, and like no one needed like the shaman, like, warrior, like, tier basically, and I ended up getting 2 pieces last night, so I almost got my 3 set in one go, plus a couple of other like spell power off pieces like this, and I got this. I think that's it. 4 things as a pug, like, not bad. And it was like a HR raid, so I hard reserved both fist weapons, but they didn't drop, of course. I was able to pull the whole damn room there this time. I haven't done that since like pre-nerfed overcharge, but it required some kiting and some like non-instant cast self heals, but doable. Not as AFK. got too cocky with that pull, honestly. I didn't have to pull that big, but I wanted to test my limits with like the spell power, like enhance world Ellie Shaman Tank gear, basically spell hands. But I can definitely pull more. It's just I gotta actually kite and shit and self-heal without instant procs. Alright, so maybe add on like 2 minutes there, because I paused the timer as soon as I killed everything. I disclude Herod because like it takes like 2 minutes to kill his ass. For like the amount of loot that he drops and everything is like not worth, so I just like call it at that and then like leave out. So I used to kill Herod, but yeah, it was about like 2 minutes maybe or altogether that I paused the timer, like walking out of the instance and like looting. What else? And like showing off my gear and like running into walls. Plus including the time running to Brill to vendor, so it's like about like 16 minutes and a half, I'd say, something like that, guesstimating. But I can indefinitely do this because like I'm never gonna get locked out because it always takes 16 minutes on average, 15 at least. So I can do this over and over and over and over and never get locked out. And it makes pretty decent gold. I think I was at like 85 at the beginning of like doing that. So yeah, not bad, not bad. I think one more run and I'll have 100 gold here again. there it is. Successful stream. 100 gold again. Not like I'm gonna hold on to it. I might spend some on engineering here and there. Level up my Engie because there's like a epic wrist I could get for like, I don't know if it was DPS or tank, but like I know for this build I need to get like full spell power gear to like make up for not having mental dexterity anymore to make it pump. Plus we get the added burn. But yeah, I think I'm going for GY farms to get the spell power necklace and the spell power dagger from the library. I think I'll go for the library dagger first. I think it's called Hypnotic Blade, yeah. I think I had that for like the beginning of phase 2. I had this like dual wield these as Shaman Tank. Fast ass daggers, so 9 extra spell power, that'll be somewhat big. Because of the multiplicatives and etc. Like 100%. I might have to try out like Power Surge, and I'll use Power Surge procs on like Chain Heal. I'm gonna have to put that on my bar and like learn it because I don't think I have learned it because I'm never playing Resto, and there is no Chain Heal in my book, so I'm gonna have to go pick that up, like all the ranks of Chain Heal, because like Power Surge works with like Chain Lightning and Chain Heal, so that's like the only heal that it works with. So I could Chain Heal myself with Power Surge procs if I'm going to be getting them a multiple amount of times with like a lot of flame shocks. Like burn goes really good with Power Surge when you have a lot of like targets with which calls it flame shocks, because you're gonna also be able to, like in raids, lava bursts, or is that what it's called? Yeah, lava burst way more often. Like you're gonna be machine gunning lava burst rather from the shit ton of flame shocks. I'd imagine like kind of works similar to like flame shock already works baseline for molten blast reset and everything like that. But like the single target, like boom, 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 lava burst, lava burst, lava burst on a single target. With AOE, like it increases your single target by having burn. So these kind of like, I might try and test out, probably off stream though, because I'm gonna call it a stream here. Power Surge, and then put Chain Heal on my bar so I can like heal myself while I have like Flame Shock going on and everything, and then I can just like kind of like Power Surge them down, or they'll be melting from like Overcharge and multiple Flame Shocks running. Plus I'm gonna, like, I want to be hitting Flame Shock on cooldown basically, so with this build, because like it does so much damage like for one global. Like, what's my Flame Shock critting for? Like the application 780 times that by 5, 3500, 5 times 80, 400. So 3,900 has the potential to do that if all the crits crit, like on 5 targets. So it has one global from Flame Shock does 4k damage AoE. We're not even including the dot that it leaves, like just the initial button press. I think I'm onto something here. Sign me up as like the new Zogify guy that makes new guides. No, I'm kidding, no. These people do all sorts of math and they theory craft way more than just me like doing napkin math. Alright, we're calling it a stream. We've got 100 gold, and I'll probably like clip the part of my stream or record the part of my stream where I do like a 9-minute run for like an average of like what I do to farm gold as a Shaman Tank. You know, gotta be a major or a hunter. Shaman Tanks can still farm gold. There's just some effort put into it. Alright. Stream ending. There we go. Bye.